Hello and welcome to The Resourceful Woman. Today I'm doing my first video that is by request. Shout out to Daniel and Sarah Burns. You guys have asked me to put on more stuff with vegetarian and vegan recipes, stuff that you can actually try to make according to your personal diets. So this is what I'm going to do today. A nice cauliflower and chickpea curry. I actually can't stand it when I go online to recipes and they give this whole big backstory and like epic pages of stuff that you have to scroll through to actually get through to the recipe. So I will save a little bit of story time about this recipe for later at the end of the video. And for right now, I'm just going to jump right into it. I will describe the steps as I go, and I will be showing both the easy way and the correct way of making this curry. So I hope you like it. Come on and join me.
Okay, so first of all, you don't actually even have to use cauliflower if you don't like cauliflower. You can use whatever vegetables you want. But I started this recipe with a couple heads of cauliflower, some onions. The original recipe didn't call for potatoes, but I added them for bulk. And then also chickpeas and whatever you're going to use to make your curry sauce. There is, as you can see, an easy way to make your curry sauce, and then there is also a correct way, which involves a few more ingredients and a little bit more chopping. So here are the basics. I also like to throw in spinach in a lot of things just to ensure that I get plenty of iron and folic acid and all that good stuff into my diet. A word about potatoes. I am using new potatoes here because they're small, and when you cut them up, they cook really quickly. If you're planning on using any other type of potato, you will probably want to parboil it ahead of time to kind of soften it up. Otherwise, it just won't cook down enough in time with the rest of the dish. Similarly, I have seen, like for instance, on Jamie Oliver, he also kind of um, steams or boils his cauliflower to kind of soften it up as well. So depending on the cook time that you're going with and that kind of thing, you may want to prep that veg additionally in advance. As you can see here, there's also instructions for if you're going to be doing this properly and actually making your own curry from scratch. But on this particular occasion, I decided to go with the easy way and just do a thing from a jar. Now, because I was actually cooking quite a lot here, 2 full heads of cauliflower plus the potatoes, and I was trying to get a lot out of this dish in terms of bulk. You will see that I add a lot of liquids. I start with the half a jar curry paste, and then I go for a full tin of coconut milk, and then I add about a half a tin of water after that. And even after all that's done, I didn't feel like it was quite enough to cover all the veg and make it as wet as I wanted, so I added an additional jar of curry sauce, like not curry paste, but just kind of jarred sauce pre-made. And I did this just in this particular instance to make this go as far as possible with the ingredients that I was able to get. If I kind of had different shops available to me close by, I probably would have gone with a more, traditional, correct curry sauce. So I've tried to kind of be faithful to that in the instructions here, but it doesn't always work out that way, and sometimes you have to modify. You may decide that you don't need your curry to be quite as wet as this one, or you don't need as much, so you don't add quite as much, like, say, water or coconut milk or sauce or whatever. That's just a matter of personal preference. Whatever you're doing, you're not doing it wrong, as long as you don't make anyone sick in the final instance. And finally, I do want to admit that this jar of sauce that I'm using right now does contain milk products, and so the way that I made this on this particular night was not strictly vegan. But other nights when I've made it slightly differently, not using that jarred sauce, it was vegan. So there is that. And then I went ahead and added rice to the whole dish. Obviously, there is a lot of starch in the potatoes and everything, but I did a mix of white and brown rice and got that going once the curry was ready. And then finally, as I kind of mentioned before, I did add some spinach. I like to try to have some green vegetables in every dinner. So spinach is a really easy and preferred way for me to do that. I waited until the rice was about 2/3 cooked. The curry itself had been cooking for a while, about like 10 minutes or so, and so I just plopped in some frozen spinach. It melted down and mixed into the curry really nicely, and then it all kind of came together at the right time. The rice sort of finished up as the curry had kind of reached its level of where it needed to be cooked. So total cook time on this is about 15-20 minutes. It's really not very long when you're using veg like this. And I know it doesn't look great and beautiful out here, but it was delicious.
So there you go. That was my cauliflower and chickpea curry, just blatantly ripped off from recipes that I found online and tried out before. Now, a funny thing, my daughter was actually asking on the way home from school today, like, what are we gonna have for dinner? And I told her, and she said that she'd never had it before, and I was like, no, we had it a few months ago, but story time. I've started trying some of these vegetable delivery boxes. Like if you live in certain areas, similar to going to a farmer's market, you can sign up to deliveries of vegetables from like local farms and things. And they're really affordable. They're amazing because they're always everything that's like in season and locally grown, and a lot of times you can get like fully organic and everything else. So those are all the good parts. The bad part for me is that I live in England, and for some reason people feel the need to grow turnips, which I just disagree. I just feel like turnips have no reason for existence. Like why are you turnips is pretty much where I'm coming from. So I'd gotten my first vegetable box, and it was full of like, it had some things I wanted. It had like potatoes and carrots and a couple of things. And then it had cauliflower, which I was like, okay, I'm not usually into cauliflower, but okay, I'm sure I can figure out something with this. I'll make a cauliflower cheese or something. And I went online and I found this cauliflower curry recipe, and I was like, oh great, okay. And I tried it out, and actually my whole family enjoyed it, and I was like, oh cool, I can start to work this in to sort of the regular weekly or monthly dinner rotation. But then there were the turnips and the swede, and I wasn't really sure like what to do. I was like, okay, with swede, I guess I can make a mash, but like with turnips, like what do you even do? So I went online and I looked for a bunch of recipes, and I finally found like a turnip gratin, which normally you'd think a gratin is with cheese. This one wasn't. It was just with like loads of cream, and it was just like layers and layers and layers, like a millefeuille. I'm sorry, my French is execrable, but it was layers and layers of very finely shaved turnip mixed with like cream and salt and pepper, and it sounded great on paper, and in reality it was just a nightmare. I'm not like the world's best cook. I'm not like one of those people who everyone wants to come and like eat at my house because I'm like so amazing and everything, but I'm a decent cook. Like most of what I make is ostensibly edible. And this turnip gratin, we were all like eating this thing like, oh, this is punishment. This is terrible. So never again with a turnip gratin. And I actually, since then, I haven't gone back to the vegetable delivery, but I mean to. I really mean to try all of the local vegetable delivery places that are available to me, and then eventually do like some kind of video for you about like what I think of vegetable boxes and all that kind of thing, which I will get around to, ideally outside of turnip season, if I'm honest. I think a lot of people feel pressure, or they put pressure on themselves to like do everything all at once, and I'm really not a big believer in that. I'm not into like crash dieting, or throwing out half of your cupboards like in a dieting fit or anything like that. So I just strongly advocate for just making little incremental changes as you go along, like say make some sort of reasonable commitment, like you can have a vegan dinner like once a week or twice a week, and then start trying out recipes, start trying out like different kinds of foods and things, and work your way up. Because I mean, personally for me, when I first tried to go vegan a few years ago, I got myself like worked into this panic over cheese. I was like, I can't live without cheese. And then I discovered that yes, I can live without cheese, and like it's not actually as necessary to my existence as I thought it was. But for everybody, like the thing that you're gonna miss, or the thing that you think is gonna be the hardest, like is probably gonna hold you back from making a commitment and actually making a change. And the whole idea that I really want to advocate for here is make the little changes that you can make, and everybody else make the little changes that they can make, and so on and so on and so on, so that we can all together make big changes in our how we eat, how we consume, how we buy, how we shop, how we use things, and how we throw away things. So this is just one out of many, many topics that I like to go over and will be going over, is just work in a few vegetarian or vegan recipes to your regular diet, to your family's diet. See how it goes. Like, try stuff out. I tried the turnip recipe, it didn't work. But I tried this cauliflower curry and it did work. And I tried the veggie tarts and they did work. So, who knows what's going to work for you. And, if the rest of your family is going like full on vegan, that's great. If you feel like you can't commit to that, well, maybe you can commit to just like eating dinner with your family that's vegan, and then you have like, I don't know, ham sandwiches during the day or something like that. In general, with cooking vegetarian and cooking vegan, like, I'm obviously not an expert. This is something that I am experimenting with, and I'm not super committed to like, everything has to absolutely be plant-based. So you'll notice like every once in a while, like when I made the Aussie bites, it was like, no, there was honey in there, and that doesn't actually count as plant-based, strictly vegan diet, does it? So yeah, I break the rules and make of that what you will. I will always try to say if something isn't like strictly such and such, and if there are alternatives that you can do if you are trying to be strictly vegan. I don't know a lot about all the kind of like different diets that people go on, like keto and paleo and all of those. So you'll just kind of have to judge for yourself based on what I put up, if something is going to be within your preferred diet or not. And if it's not, I'm sorry. I hope you enjoy the Turnip Story. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and definitely share this with anyone else you think would be interested. I would love to get your feedback in the comments about anything similar that you've tried, or what you think I should have done differently or anything like that. So yeah, let me know what you think. Engage with me on this platform. And I'll see you next time. Thanks very much.